but you said it, right? So when you were trying to move markets, you realize that it's a lot of cost. It's a lot. So, the joke around here is I'm always the worry ward. I'm scared to make money. It's not that I'm scared to change. I want to make a fuck ton of money. You talked earlier, guys are never going to care about the company as much as an owner. Mm-hmm. I look at, from a leadership role, is I can't expect the guy that I'm trying to train to be me. He's not. If I can get him 70 to 80% me, that's a fucking win.
No one's going to give a shit like we do. No one's ever going to buy into it like we do unless you give them a piece of it like you have. And
my point is that local is all great and everything, but it doesn't mean anything, right? You have to erupt, which means you have to have a high volume of sales, right? Like that's the volcano. The problem that I had, and I always wanted to do it, is like I didn't want to go to a market to chase and leave, and that may have been my mistake because I may have been better at doing that. I tried to solidify, which lava eventually molts or whatever and turns into rock and earth or whatever, and so that's the solidification.
Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh.
You are now tuned into the best roofing podcast in the world.
The Roof Trollz.
Roof Trollz, we're back. AI Elijah here, and man, I'm pumped for part 2 with my guy Dustin from Three Kings Roofing. Dude, we are about to dive deep into some seriously good stuff. We're talking sports, branding, business strategy, and I'm telling you, this is going to be good. Let's jump right in.
So I want to ask you, because what you just said, I liked a lot of what you just said, right? It was powerful, right? The God sent, doing something that you feel is like faith driven, where it's like, hey, I'm meeting these people for a reason. I say that all the time. I don't think anything that has come to me or is out of coincidence, right? I think everything happens for a reason. So your company, obviously, how long is your company right now been in existence for?
Since 2010.
That's a pretty long time, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So my question, I think, to you would be is to have a company, you say, come in for market share. We were talking right before we started the podcast, Romans Roofing. This is our, technically year 5, our 6th season, how, calendars work. We finally are kind of getting that market share, right? Our name has grown. We have pushed marketing and branding. I will say more branding than anything.
Yeah.
It's been a big thing for us. And in our area, we're finally kind of there. Again, we're not Eminem, we're not Raj, but people know who we are. Like us or hate us or not really know what we even do. Everybody knows our trucks and they know Romans Roofing. And that's awesome. And I'm super proud to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. My question, though, I guess, is more when you say that another company were to come in, I feel like anyone that would come in here, I don't see really much of how they would shift the market for us particularly. I mean, I guess unless maybe a company like you, I guess if you were like, hey, I'm going to come in here, but you still have so many years to kind of build that brand awareness with like the actual, because at the end of the day, we have to deal with people. And so if they don't know you and, you might have had a great reputation, hey, go look us up in our company in Texas, but you're from Texas. You're not from Northwest Indiana. Mm-hmm. You might be here now. So I guess really is maybe why do you think that way? I've
had a history of I can go create chaos anywhere. Like I can go to Northwest Indiana tomorrow with leads and people and close deals and get in the way. But I wasn't really talking about like that kind of market share. I was saying that like if they buy one of these companies, right? And one of these companies is connected to something that's $500 million, $1 billion, $2 billion, $10 billion of an entity. That's a hard thing to compete against because their branding is going to be superstar branding of like everywhere because of the money backing. And so that market share is what I mean is they're coming after market share. Like they're trying to take, like I've always said, the roofing industry is like a bunch of army ants. Right? There's the reason private equity likes it, there's inefficiencies and nobody owned not even 1% market share of a $100 billion a year industry or whatever it was. They're thinking like, I can grab, 10 or 20 army ant. Now I have 1%, 2%, 10% of the roofing industry space. That's a leverage tactic. Like, you know what I mean? Like they can leverage that into.
No, for sure.
The roofing industry is stubborn, bro. That's why I told these guys when we first started branding, it was 2 years ago. I'm like, look, guys, I'm telling you right now, I am not a guru. I didn't go to college for marketing. I didn't do any of that.
You don't say.
Yeah. But, bro, you'd have to be blind to not see how much of it's sitting out there for us to take right now. Even the minimal marketing that we do right now has catapulted us. And it's inspired us. I have seen videos of other roofers try to be funny. I've seen videos of other roofers try to put out a skit. That's just not them. because they're not genuine. You know, like
Your genie in the bottle one was pretty funny.
Yes, my brother, yeah, he was the genie. Yeah, dude, like we're having fun, and I think that's what separates a lot of us. So I'm a fond believer that price is out the window. I've said that on multiple podcasts and at speaking events, and I'll continue to say it. I think it's all about convenience and experience, and as long as we deliver an easy convenience for homeowners, which all of us do, but then it's the experience, and that's what I'm selling homeowners now. It's no longer, hey, I can get your roof done. Anyone can get your roof done. I know that. We all pay very similar pricing too. Some of us have different connects here and there, but at the grand scheme of things, it's about the same price. So why would you use them instead of us, or why would you use us instead of them? Because of the experience. Yeah. I'm going to give you an experience at Romans Roofing that you're never going to get anywhere else. That's what our mindset is. But the market share, online presence, we all think medieval. All the owners across the roofing industry, there's very few of them understand how significant you can change. You can change an entire area just off of ads, posting, being present, putting yourself out there. You know.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'll be 39, sadly, in September.
Okay, Mike.
24.
There you go.
52.
You're a good-looking 24. I
Yeah,
mean, sorry about that.
Shout out 24-year-old. Yeah.
This is a new 24. That's what I feel like. Now, do you think in the world that we live in and what it's moving to, do you think that it's going to get to where people are experience-based or it's convenience-based? Because you said both, and they kind of don't go together in my mind.
What do you mean experience?
Well, you said you give them the best
experience,
right.
Not experience like
yeah, no. I know, like the way that you're dealt with the customer and all that. Yep. And then you mentioned convenience.
Yep.
That's where my question, I guess, really is. Do you think that the marketplace is going to go more to convenience or toward experience?
Oh, both. I think they do go hand in hand. I'm gonna explain how too, because I think that I know that I'm an outside thinker, and I've brought this up, and multiple people have laughed. Online shopping is the biggest bridge right now that none of us are crossing. And when we're doing it because we're thinking small, we believe truly that customers give a shit or care to go on the roofs, and they're going to look at their house and, oh yeah, this fits well. You're going to cut these corners of this pattern. They don't care about any of that. If we made it fun to buy a roof, we'd sell more roofs. If we were ballsy enough, I'm going to say ballsy enough too, because you got to be, you got to have them. You got to have the right salesperson too. I'm telling you, dude, it's a joke right now, but let the first roofer start doing it and watch the market soar. We got to get online and start selling this online, making it fun. Start knocking off shaving prices, making it fun, eliminating sales reps, eliminating having to do all the whole process, paying people for that. Get online, get in front of a table like it's cards, and start selling and watch what happens. It only takes one, guys. It only takes one.
So I want to jump into what your question was to kind of piggyback on your question, and I think the further answer what Elijah. So I actually agree. Online shopping is huge. I think Mike Goldstein and Roofle, like shout out to Mike, is going to change the game. I think companies like Hover and GAF Quick Squares, and just the fact that you can get measurements via satellite now. And again, with Hover, we do use them. This isn't like a plug, but like that's crazy. Again, I'm sure everyone uses it. Like you can get window measurements within like an inch. Like that's fucking mind blowing from 8 photos, right? But I do think if the experience is there now, I'm a firm believer like in that. I don't want to say old school approach with sales, but I do think people buy from people. I think there has to be some type of mutual connection, and I think we transcend that with our videos.
And I'm asking if you think the market is going to continue to go that route.
I think it's going to sway in. It's going to sway in
with younger people than us.
Yeah, it's going to sway in the experience. I think so. Just because we're watching, I don't know. I don't know Texas's market. I know when it comes to hail, dude, I wouldn't even try to have a conversation with you. You guys get it every other week. You probably had it while you were here.
Okay, we did.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was in Austin technically, but we did. Yes, we got a storm.
Yeah, you're getting it every week. So like you guys are the hail capital. What I'm saying is, how does the homeowners look in your market? Because out here right now, what we're finding, and I love it, is that we're running into 22, 23, and 24-year-olds that are buying up big, massive houses because, already the banks are giving loans to anybody. It doesn't matter what your credit score is anymore.
They couldn't afford a house.
Yeah.
They can't.
They're still buying them. So the point is, though, is that these are all younger homeowners, dude. And we're getting really, it's crazy. Like when you're watching the work orders come in, too, because now people are like, environmental is like huge now. Mm-hmm. Like it really is starting to be a little bit bigger. Yeah. And then people are like, well, a very common question is like, well, why would we go with you? Like they want to hear the story. Most people didn't care to hear the story of Romans. Now people want to hear it. And then like they want to see videos, they want to laugh, they want to have a good time. And I just think that the younger generation doesn't care about analytics like the older ones do. They don't care like we do. It's more so like it's got to be live and in your face, or they're not even interested anymore. You almost got to grab their attention before you can do business with them.
You have to connect in some way, form, or fashion in a different way.
Agreed.
And that's why, content in this podcast, I get it. Like I said, I had I called it a docuseries. I just wanted to basically highlight our people, and I wanted it to be funny or dramatic, or because reality TV, if you look at that, like it's a train wreck, and I don't want to like advertise the train wrecks that we have. We all have them, but you don't want to always be vulnerable in that sense. Yeah. But like, I wanted people to connect in a different way, because what is the difference of us and 5 million other roofing companies? Well, it's only going to be connection is what I thought. The reason I was asking the question, though, about convenience is because I feel like that's where, like you said, is the archaicness of roofing. And that's what I mean by evolving, is there's going to be intelligent people with a lot of money to back AI. And the problem with experience is, what if you, like, how fast can you get there? Like how fast, like if, for instance, if you don't hear from the people, you don't have the chance to give them that experience. And that's where I'm saying it like is a problem with these large scale conglomerates, is if they get 1,000 files directed to them, like boom, storm hits 1,000 files, you're not even hearing from those people, right? They're already moving so like at the speed of light. AI, even faster than that.
Yeah.
And that's like a world ender for me. AI I think is going to be a bad thing, but it's like the internet started it, made the world smaller. AI is doing it at a crazy light speed of making it even worse. It's just that I guess that's what I'm asking is kind of, I feel like the problem that I've always had, like I'll drive by neighborhoods in DFW and yeah, we're there and people know our trucks and stuff. And it's like, how do I talk to all these people?
Let me jump in on this, because I think you have to be able to do both.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to set companies apart. There's going to be people that just want to go on Amazon, buy something quickly, and be done with it. And we're getting there with the roofing industry. But there's also the people that want to be sold. COVID created this where people want to interact with people again. And as we get further into this social media, people aren't really seeing each other like they used to. People want to interact with people. So I think that if you can have access on your website where they can get a price in 30 seconds, but we also have where we have guys out door knocking, because I think door knocking is actually going to get bigger right now, because look at all these different industries that are doing pest control, alarm sales, cable. Everybody's out there door knocking because people want to see people. Like that's what COVID taught us, that people want to be around
some of
people.
That's navigating the noise and the chaos.
Yeah,
but we got to do both.
We dictate that though. We do some things really good in this industry. We do some things piss poor, like any other industry. But one thing that the roofing industry really does that sucks is that we promote all of this stuff, all the mindset, the goals, the money, this could change your life, blah blah blah. But we never promote how fun it is. And I think a lot of the people here in this industry also have forgotten how fun it is. And that's really sad, because that's the selling point. That's the recruiting tool. That's how you gain people's attention. The number one thing that people say about our ads is it's nice to see people having fun. They always say that. They always say, oh, everybody at Roman seems to be laughing and having a good time. You guys' videos, everybody's always smiling and laughing. The podcast, it's all jokes like laughing and stuff. Yeah, dude, we're genuinely having a good time. And I think that when you can't fuck with somebody who's having a good time, like you just can't. That's what I'm saying. Like you're on top of the world when you are. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can take you off your game when it's fun every day.
Well, there's two things to that. So it's funny that Mike, you brought up that COVID taught us that people want to see people, which I think is true. I actually view it the opposite. Is I think because of COVID, it made people, I don't want to use the word more reclusive, but they have no problem. Amazon took a huge boom because of just, I can't leave my house. I can't do things. Well, what can I do? What else took a huge boom? Uber Eats. The convenience of that.
That's what I was getting at, is like every single app and technology and everything is about not seeing people. Like,
agreed.
Not having to go to the grocery store because our groceries are delivered.
But what all those apps and what all those things do is they have good marketing behind it. So you have to feel close to that company for a reason. And I think the one thing that we do, and it does allude to that, and then it's bridging that gap between the convenience of it, the efficiency of like a Riffle quote, and then, well, why do I trust them versus them? is finding that gap. And I think we're doing a good job of it because we try to market, we are local, and, we see people, right? So the people that are buying from us also see us in the grocery store.
Yeah, that the one thing about that though, like, and not to knock anybody,
Please.
I get your headquarter market, I get that in your headquarters,
Mm-hmm.
but how do you scale? Like,
Well,
how do you go to Michigan? How do you go to Illinois? How do you go to Hawaii if you want to?
Hey, I'll go to Hawaii tomorrow. Let's figure it out.
But
They just need to get some money to buy some
No,
roofs.
So
100%.
like just going with like the local hometown homegrown feel, it's great because that's
Mhm.
like storm catching versus storm chasing,
Sure.
right? And I've always envied people that could do that. I'm in DFW, we don't really get to do that, but we don't really get to be the local brand because there's 5 million of them. So you have to go out there and like you're in a fight, you're in a dog fight, right?
Well, you kind of said it though.
So-
So Michigan's a perfect example. That's a big, like, for us at Romans, is like, that's a big spot we want to go to, right? There's a lot of licensing issues. You have to have a actual building, right?
Right.
But you said it, right? So when you were trying to move markets, you realize that it's a lot of cost. It's a lot. So, the joke around here is I'm always the worry ward. I'm scared to make money. It's not that I'm scared to change. I want to make a fuck ton of money. I also understand that part of it. Moving to us right here, that's an hour, dude. We could put an office an hour away and have a whole different market share. But until, like, what I think it's kind of going to bring it back is it's the systems and processes. So what we did the first couple of years here, I should say what Jeff did his first couple of years here, and then I got involved year 3, and then everyone else the last couple of years, is dialing in the systems and processes for us to take it from where we are here, the things that were successful, implanting it there. Because if we just go move an office there, get a license, get some reps up there, you're basically starting a brand new business.
Every time.
100%. However, though, if we take guys that know the system and an actual product that actually has moving parts that we know are, well defined, and put it there, that's very different than just we're going to try to open up shop here. So my thing is, and it's the same thing I do with, like, when I'm training or trying to be a leader, is I can't expect you to be me. You talked earlier, guys are never going to care about the company as much as an owner.
Mhm.
I look at, from a leadership role, is I can't expect the guy that I'm trying to train to be me. He's not. But if I can get him 70 to 80% me, that's a fucking win. Now, if we can take that 70 to 8% of what we did here and then move it here, I think you have a fucking great chance. Now, do we have to brand? Is your location good? Right? So I'm a firm believer in not just when you look at building a business, is because, again, with sales, at the end of the day, what we do is construction, but it's sales. We're getting someone to buy something from us. And I go back to my career, is I was a bartender for a long time. I was in the food and beverage. When you build a bar, some of the biggest reasons bars fail, outside of your employees stealing from you and things like that, is location. How are you set up? And I think if we can learn that, like, algorithm, to then putting a building somewhere, because we're going to have to show them who we are. Do we put some billboards up coming soon? Brand awareness prior to coming in there. Like, I think there's a lot of steps you can take if you have a good brand to bring it there. And, we talk about, like, for us, a big part was like Niles. Niles, Michigan isn't going to know us. But New Buffalo, Michigan might, though. It's looking at the actual demographic, and also the geographical location is, are any of these homeowners going to know us?
I think we're in a unique spot with the geographic. That's what I think we need to explain. So, like, when we talk about Michigan, I don't think you understand how close we are to that either. So, like, it's a little, it's a little bit different for us. So, like, from my house to New Buffalo is a half hour. From my house to Niles is like an hour. South Bend's right by me. The real reason that I want to go into Michigan is not to develop Michigan year one. It's to own Fort Wayne, Elkhart, Goshen, South Bend, the areas of Indiana that I can't get to. I'm already known in Northwest Indiana, so I want to own that other part of Indiana as well. Then the other thing is, the caveat is that all the storms that miss us, they go over Lake Michigan, get stronger, and fucking hit Michigan. I said
this. You
got, it sucks.
You got a bigger bingo board. That's what I was saying with, like, a platform or partners or whatever. I get it.
Well, to answer your question, I think that it's you got to realistically strategize on what's a realistic number that the offices can do. And the way I look at it is, like, we haven't spent much time in Illinois, which is going to be built up when we do the Michigan part. But I'm under the impression that Illinois and Indiana is a cakewalk for 10 million. Where we're at right now with what we do with the guys we have, I think $10 million can be achieved in both of those markets. Then the question is, can you do $10 million in Michigan? Because if you can, That's how we catapult to that next level of a $30 million company, is by setting realistic expectations for those offices. Now, I don't even know if those are achievable. I know the first two are. I don't know if Michigan is achievable at $10 million. But
I think differently.
I'd
I
like
think
to find
Michigan
out.
will be easier for us to do 10 million than Illinois, only due to the fact that right now there's so much competition in Illinois. It's kind of like Texas. It's like the Wild Wild West. There's contractors everywhere, thousands of them everywhere. Indiana, when those guys went to Gurney and Waukegan, they were like, "Oh, you're the 50th guy at my door today." That's what you deal with in Texas. In
if
Northwest
it goes
Indiana,
matching state next year, bro, we're
yeah, but
doing
Indiana,
10 in
you
Illinois.
were the 5th guy at my door. So it's Michigan, that little area.
You know that's happening, right?
But
That little area north of us, and I'm sure you see it because you go up there way a lot, right? You go through there. Like
Really
there's so
often.
much work to be done there because the contracting licensing laws are so tough. I think, I don't want to say it's shooting fish in a barrel, but it's going to be less competition there, so it's a prime market to take over. Whereas Illinois is like you're just one of 2,000. Where Michigan, we're gonna be the man up there once we break into that. We're gonna be able to take it over like Northwest Indiana.
I hope so. I'm just saying, if we're sitting in a market right now and we're able to do upwards of $20 million in one market right now in Northwest Indiana, I believe that's an amazing feat in itself. But if we're able to accomplish our goals like we want to, and I think we will, then I believe the sky's the limit. Like, who knows what we could do by building that? But to allude to what you said too, I agree with that. We have to develop the people and make sure that we have the right people in place to do those things. And that takes time with like sitting down with leadership, actually developing them, letting them understand. Because no one's going to give a shit like we do. No one's ever going to buy into it like we do unless you give them a piece of it like you have. And most of us aren't willing to do that. That's why I think it's fun when you start talking about satellite offices, because satellite office requires somebody going out there and running it. So now maybe that person that you did develop, that you believe in, that's bought into the system, maybe they do get a piece of that. You get a smaller piece, but you still have the other two. So essentially you're running 5 or 6 offices with 5 or 6 people. And this is in a perfect world that you can trust, that you've developed with your system that believe in you, or you believe in them. And then hopefully by giving them a larger piece of it, they too start to take it a little bit more business like minded.
It's kind of a franchise model.
Yeah, that's
in a certain sense. It's kind of like a franchise.
yeah.
Which, I mean, people run, and there's models out there that are like that. My question or kind of thought at first was the local statement.
Correct. And that's
So
what I
like,
tried answering,
yeah,
I think, at least.
And so like you go to Michigan, are you going to claim that same thing? Is that going to be, because you've marketed that here because that's where y'all are from and how you feel, but are you going to market the same way in Michigan?
And that's where, again, looking at it from the geographical standpoint of is the nice thing with when you start going east and then southeast. So Elijah talks about
Well,
going
let's forget Michigan. Let's say Kansas. Let's
Yeah.
say we're going to expand, right? Like, cause that's what the reason I'm asking these questions is because I've been in 12 different states, and imperfectly, like I'm just going to throw that out there too. Like we have went and, like I said, we can create chaos anywhere.
Sure.
I could come to Northwest Indiana and start doing jobs, right? Like we could do that, but you know what I mean? Like you ultimately feel like this is my headquarters and home.
Yeah.
And
I think you would.
and I understand that, but like, what is the scalability of that marketing plan?
Well, I think that's where you look at it from a risk standpoint, A, and then B, kind of like loaning somebody money. Are you at a financial point to go? And if I were to go to Kansas with,
No, he's asking about branding. I think like we're living off the local thing, which I don't like either. We're only using that because they're so hell bent on it in this area right now. But once we expand, obviously we won't be able to push the narrative that we're just a local company, but we're also not going to push the narrative that we're some big ass fucking monster company coming in to dominate markets. That's not what the idea is. I would have no problem. See, I'm a person that I don't care. I would speak in front of a camera and let them know, hey guys, the reality is because storms in Indiana and Illinois keep missing us and they keep hitting you guys. So we figured, hey, this isn't a saturated market. Maybe we can help some of you guys as well. Because at the end of the day, we got to get paid and you guys got to have full roof replacement. So we're coming into Michigan because we feel like we can help more people. So why not just be honest with them?
Well, here, let's
Mike,
look at
go
it
on.
this way too. So even though, the last experience I had in the IPO roll-up wasn't the greatest, I did get to learn a lot of things. Getting to oversee different markets in different states, every state has a different culture. Like you have to, like you can't like just expect, and you've seen this, I'm sure, if you've opened different offices everywhere, you can't think I'm just going to walk into, like, let's say Kansas, like you, because that's a good example, because it's not close, but it's not far. If we wanted to go into Kansas tomorrow, we can't expect outside of systems and processes, what culturally works in Northwest Indiana is going to work in Kansas or Florida or, Washington. Like every state has a different culture. You pretty much got to find someone in that area and help build out from that, because everyone's different. Like like Illinois to Indiana, you would think that
it's vastly different.
Like, and they're right next to each other, and the cultures are light years different.
No, so I agree, and that's kind of what that's getting to my answer with that. Is I 100% agree. Is you can have the best systems and processes, and that's the only part we can control. And again, we can talk about Kansas, Michigan, but and that's why I said gambling. I mean, at some point, that's the risk. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to work. So, correct. And that's why when they get, the joke is, am I worried about it? It's not that I'm worried. It's like, we can do everything we want, right? Are we okay with losing $1 million on a gamble? Now, could it benefit? Great. But there's so much more to it. How many other roofing companies are there? What's the culture like? I mean, I agree with the chaos thing. I'm not concerned if we took everyone from this office and just went to Kansas, would we get some deals? I think so, because of just the grit behind everyone, that they want to make money. Yeah. They'll figure out that the selling technique. Will it be like this though? Will it come as easy? How will the people, how welcoming will they be? And so I think that's just and I'd love to hear your not rebuttal to that, but your answer back to that.
I mean, it wasn't to rebuttal.
I guess that's the wrong
no,
word.
It wasn't. It really wasn't.
But your response, I'm sorry.
It really wasn't to rebuttal. It was really kind of trying to. I was,
that was the wrong
fishing.
Word.
I was fishing for what would your strategy be? I know what mine was. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying it's imperfect.
Yeah.
And I just think that a lot of guys in roofing, we don't think about that. Like we don't, like it's like he's saying. I'm totally cool with telling them that we're going to Michigan basically because we're a roofing company that's going to try to make money, right? And that's why I said we can go create chaos. And what I mean by that is we can go into any market with any storm and hustle, and we can make money. The expensive part wasn't just that. The expensive part was the solidification of that market. And that's where I've probably been bad, or that's probably the imperfect part of it, is because I'm like, okay, we're going to be in that market long term. This guy is somebody that's like, I don't know if he's the right guy, but it's the asset that we have currently. And so we're going to put him there. And then that gets expensive because when the storm is not prominent there and you have to go to, it's a new company, like you said, every single time, like I said, being imperialistic, every single market, every single state that you go to is a brand new company. And I was just asking about the local factor because are you going to claim your local? Because I did, right? Because I had local people that lived there. I had a brick and mortar office that was there, so like I felt like I was local, but people would be like, oh, y'all are out of Plano and shit because our headquarters, yes. It's like, so you have to be big. This is kind of my point of like, I had to flip the model of like, yeah, your local guy, like we're 20 times bigger than they are. Mm-hmm. It's like, do you shop at Amazon? Yeah. Do you buy anything at Amazon?
Not as much lately.
Do you buy anything at Walmart, Target?
Not as much Target. But
but my point is that local is all great and everything, but it doesn't mean anything. Like a local dude could be doing meth in the alley and taking your money and running with it because he's not used to any kind of money that he has been given because he's local. To me it's relevant but irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like I'll spin it whichever way I need to go, but like making that the marketing plan of like we're this family local headquarters, it works, right? Great in the headquarters. I was just asking like, what's your scaling plan? Because your scaling plan is obviously to try to get big, right? Like,
well, yes. So it's always been the same one that I've said. So I just want to create a destination spot for sales reps. That's always been the plan. So at the end of the day, and from my standpoint, Roman's Roofing, I only want it to be a destination spot for sales reps, and I want them to grow. I want to turn over that 3 year. I thought it was 2 years, but I wanted to turn over from like 2 to 3 years. I want them to stay here. I'd like to see one retire. That's why we have the 401k and stuff. I'd like to give them money to look on in the future. It would be nice to, in my opinion, if you pay them well and treat them well, more of them will want to work here eventually. And then when that starts happening, then maybe, in my opinion, when the buy-ups start coming down, PE starts buying everything up, and those guys start leaving companies, and then the sales reps are sit there with a decision now. Do I stay and do I believe in this philosophy and stay here, or do I go start my own shit, or do I find another home? And I believe that's where we're going to capitalize, is when they need to find a new home. And you got a $2 million producer that has no idea what he's going to do anymore because he loved the owner so much, but the owner is in Tahiti now, and the company sold, made a bunch of money. The PE companies cut him out. Where does that guy go? I would like for him to be like, oh, those guys have a lot of fun over there. I'm gonna go talk to them. That's what I would like. But you gotta stay consistent. You gotta stay fun. It's gotta stay relevant, and you gotta adapt to have that happen. But from my point of view, that's my philosophy. Just make it a destination spot, and the rest will work itself out.
And the question was just thought provoking.
Yeah.
I was just making y'all try to thought provoke to where y'all are. What is scalability? What does it look like? What is the marketing? Because it's not the same. Like Mike said, everywhere. Mm-hmm. Different markets operate differently. Like Maryland, like I said, I'm not going to Maryland because, well, I shouldn't say that. That market's got a little bit of hail. New York, like they don't get much hail. It's retail, all this other stuff. Delaware's, like I have no idea how that model works. And if I was going to go put my business there or have a platform partner that's there, that's where I get understanding, right? And that's why I'm saying like the partnership of a platform is you can grow without having to be like every single market. Like that's imperialistic, mm-hmm. right? That's what I did. I'm like, everything that moves, if we've got assets of people, let's go after it. And I did that. And we can go in, like I said, any market and create chaos and get jobs, and that can make money. There's a strategy there. The problem came, like I call it the volcano theory. This is just what I talk, like a volcano, like you have a rumbling, right? So you're disrupting the market, right? Like if we came here tomorrow, we'd be like, people would not like it because we would be getting jobs and whatever. And they're fucking from Plano and they're these dickheads and they're going to fuck you and blah, blah, blah. So you're disrupting. They're not happy, right? You have to erupt, which means you have to have a high volume of sales, right? Like that's the volcano. The problem that I had, and I always wanted to do it, is like I didn't want to go to a market to chase and leave. And that may have been my mistake because I may have been better at doing that. I tried to solidify, which lava eventually molts or whatever and turns into rock and earth or whatever. And so that's the solidification. The solidification's hard, because like y'all have got a lot of owners here, like I said. So y'all have got some assets that y'all could probably put to play in certain areas. And that's why like I contracted. Like that's why I'm like, I'm out of Florida. That cost me $150,000. Like I'm out of these markets because it's like, if it's not, like you said, you got to have a strategy of like, is it, and I learned this from another roofing company. How many offices you got? We put them on the board. And he's like, well, how much does this one do? How much does this one do? And I was like, shit. I'm like, 85% is right here. He's like, well, until it does 10 million, you don't need another one. Right? It's like 10 million minimum, like until you go get another one. And I was like, yeah. And my fear has always been like, I don't know how y'all do it. Maybe it's luck, maybe it's talent. And I've talked to him, like I asked about, even you, I asked about Indianapolis. Like, why are y'all not in Indianapolis? Like, if we can that's a huge market, a lot of houses, because that's how I think is like, what's the larger, spread of opportunity? And they're like, no, we're in Northwest Indiana. We don't go down there. And I'm like, what the, I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, I can't imagine. And I'm from a small town and I've worked small towns and I get the referrals, but it's like, how do you just be confident of sitting in a small Northwest Indiana that is going to support your company, your sales force, everything, and you're going to be okay year after year after year? Like, that's always been hard for me. That's why I've always went after it.
When did you decide to try to take that jump to another area, even if it was, within Texas? But like, when did you take your first office to the next?
I hate offices, to be honest with you at this point.
Okay.
The last time that I had fun in this industry, like you're talking about, like genuine fun and felt really free and made clean money, I had like 10 to 15 people and I didn't have an office.
Okay.
I literally just went after it. I went to small towns, DFW, wherever, and just hustled and guys made money and they made a lot of money. I didn't have overhead.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is great. the offices and the burdens that come with like staffing and draws and salaries and growing and recruiting and bullshit until you're spending $300,000 a month to operate. And it's like, that's cool if you're continuously getting to the next level and breaking through the ceiling, but people will fuck you. People will take a chunk and you're replacing it, but you're not growing. You're not going to the next level. So you're spending like you're a $50 million company that's doing 20 million or 25. It's a problem because then you start to lose money. And this is what a lot of roofing companies do on accident, because they were just like, man, I'm just in attack mode, just in growth mode, trying to do the next right thing.
But I think in some ways, I feel like you kind of answered that same question. Yep. Is until, we're at that point where we're growing the correct way.
Yeah.
And overhead and everything is in check. And systems
he said
and processes.
10 million. Angela's going to look for a way to spin what you're saying to use against us later, and I'm going to nip that in the ass now. He's going to say that even he said, dude, he's got multiple offices. We're just not ready to grow. No, we're beyond ready. And like you said, we do need to grow outside of just Northwest Indiana. And Northwest Indiana is going to do $20 million this year. So I think it's more than enough time to go ahead and pop in something else and see what another venture looks like in that for 100%.
Yeah, and like I said, it's like, I don't know, man. It's like the balance of action and careful. It's like what is the balance of that? And I don't have a balance in that. I've always told people, like, I will blaze a trail, right? I will blaze a trail, just build a fucking bridge so I can get back across. Like that's like, I'm not good at building the bridge, right? Yeah. Like I'm not good at the train track that it needs to stay on. Like I'll go attack it and make it happen, but like y'all got to build the bridge, like the solidification. Like I said, that is the hard part of scaling. And so like I just say, like, focus on that. Make sure you have a plan that is there of like a guy that you love, trust, whatever it is, that's gonna, like, you can amplify around, because I've tried to build people up, and every single time it has seemed like it's just been a floundering effect of.
That's the thing. So like it's funny that he said that, but I agree with you 100%. And I just think when we look at growth and, expansion, the company itself has only been around 5 years. Does that mean you can't grow? No, that's not what I'm saying. We've only seen steady growth the last 3 years as a company. So and the thing is, you don't want things to plateau, right? But you want to actually have solid numbers. All we've been trying to do is grow. All we've done is add more sales reps. How do we bolster our relationship with national adjusters to make sure those files come in? We're bolstering now retail. Until that stuff is actually set in place, again, we just did it this year. I think I don't want to say not
so
smart.
Y'all are torn on this. Y'all are torn on the expansion.
I'm not torn on it. It's the timing.
There's no torn. It's happening. So again,
happening.
I'm a half hour to 45 minutes away from Indiana, like you alluded to, and I think that's the number one selling point, is that most companies are not in a position we're in. We're in a good position for two reasons. One, we're extremely profitable where we're at right now. Number two, we have 6 owners, and I've already put this on the board before in our meetings and stuff like that. So for full transparency, I say 2 go to Illinois, 2 stay in Northwest Indiana, and then 2 go into Michigan. We are the ones that run this whole thing. We all believe in this company. This is what we do. So then we go to work. This is how we got to this point. I think that the only conflicts of it, I don't think, is profitability. I really don't, because I think we're going to be able to do things special no matter what areas we get into, especially with some of the guys that we have. The issue is, I think it's about a comfort level. I really do. I truthfully believe that. I believe that we've gotten comfortable with not having to be that dog anymore. That if we go and open up something else and we don't really necessarily, like you say, have the right pieces of the person that we want it to be in, well, then only one person is going to be able to take accountability for that. It's going to be us. So we're going to have to be that one person. But I'm openly on record saying I want to be that one person. Go send me into Michigan, and if I got to do it alone, I'll do it alone, but I'll kickstart it. We'll go pop off a few million and we'll get it started. But that's happening. Like, we have to grow. It's happening.
And I have that same philosophy, right? Like, Elijah's an attack strategist type individual. He's attack it. There's other things that you have to think about, for sure. I hated it. Like, the minority partner, it ended up costing me $1 million something, probably more than that in time and everything else. And toxicity that he put inside of my organization that I've still recovering from and licking wounds from, to be honest with you. But he was careful. He was an engineer brain. He was always very careful. I'm very like attack. It was a okay balance, but it was like I was the majority owner, and it was like it can also stand in your way. And like it's a power struggle that it can stand in your way, and at some point, like you can't plan to make a plan. It's like you got to attack it. I have no regrets over anything that I've attacked.
Sure.
I have annoyances because I've invested in offices, shops, people. We do PDR. I had rental vehicles, all the tools in the world for our organization, and our organization ultimately, I know this sounds crazy, but like they failed the company, not the other way around. Like they didn't use the tools and like keep going and whatever. And maybe that's leadership on me of not like making it happen or having the right people in place, but it's like, I don't regret any decision that I've made.
No, I don't think anyone should regret it either.
Yeah. And I've, like we were steadily, like I didn't have, 2010, we didn't have a year that we didn't grow year over year until 24, I believe. So like every single year we had grown. It might not have been great, might have been whatever. And I never went from here to exploded. Like y'all kind of did that, like I've seen, y'all's stuff or whatever, when we were talking about the platform, like y'all done a great job of that. Like that's impressive. I've told Mike, I'm like, y'all have got an impressive, like whatever y'all did. And then like y'all's financials seem solid, and most roofing companies don't have that. And so like, kudos and hats off to y'all for that. Because a lot of companies that are in this space don't have that. Bigger companies are way worse, and so like you want to keep all of that in line. But I just say like, it's a balance. Like I feel like you're careful. I feel like you're attack mode.
I think when you say careful, I think it's more calculated.
Yeah.
Because I want to touch on just the last thing you said really quick. So I think that is, you see the big jump, right?
You can be co-guest.
We all knew.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So like when we talked, like, even when we did, like, you go to meet with suppliers and all that, I know these guys. I knew the guys that I asked to come be a part of this, who they were. Like I knew Mike, I knew Elijah, I knew half the damn sales team. The 14 million, that wasn't the issue. It was getting the full year out of it, right? That 7 million, if you actually look, that was from half the year. That we're an honest to God 12 to 15 million sales team year after year. You get an inch storm. If we get that in Northwest Indiana with our retail, like that's just what we're going to do. That's not the issue. It's getting everything else involved. And and I know you talked about, Elijah being the risk taker and this and that. It's just like, you kind of alluded to the market share and how do you actually brand out there are we at a point for that investment? Because, even when I talked to you about, when did you do that? You're like, I don't like offices and all that. But at some point you did. You tried to branch out. You either had to have the money to go do that, or you just, I don't think it's smart business to risk this business for that business.
Yeah, and I wouldn't disagree with that. That's why some of the, contraction of what we've done is like we're back to a company, just as a peer, the Linears, Infinite, Results, these guys that like they do this network marketing model of recruit, pitch the dream lifestyle, organically recruit because of how much money you're making, clout, like the stuff that you're getting, all that. But what they did that was intelligent was they made their core like a supernova before they actually did go to wherever. Now they've sold and they're trying to be everywhere, right? Like in every market that I go to, like if I'm personally running around scouting or selling, it's the houses I'm going after. That's what they're going after, right? Like they've taught that at this point. And so there is a point to that. And I just think that if y'all are consistently 12 to 15 million, I think you can have another one. I think you can grow, if that's what you want. Like if that's what you want.
No, I think that's what we all want ultimately.
Yeah.
I think I truly think and it's funny because we're having this conversation with owners, with another owner, right? But it's just a timing thing. I think that's all I think we all have the same
I like
goal.
the fact that we're having the conversation because this is someone who did it. So
for sure.
90% of our education for those listening in the roofing industry is built upon other people's mistakes. We literally watched them fuck up and then fumble it, and then we talk to them. That's
so
straight up. Like,
what you're
that's
talking about is a
even
perfect example.
success, like,
It
same thing.
correlates all this. Is the last company we were at, our Northwest Indiana / Illinois office was basically funding that office and like 2 other offices. Was there the C-suite that obviously didn't help manage all that? Correct. Did they make decisions that were fucking stupid? Correct. But that was to me, you can make mistakes from a decision level here. Like we can make a mistake here and think we're going to do something smart in our market. But once you go to try to make that mistake somewhere else off of the bank account at this market, I think that's where businesses can really get fucked up. And we saw that, right?
Yeah.
It was always, hey,
So-
you guys need to go sell more. And I mean, this is where me and Elijah were team leads with a lot of the guys that are still here or at other places that are being successful. It was like, fuck, dude, how much more can we do? We're the number 1 team in the country outside of like Texas, right? It's just different.
Yeah.
But we're like, fuck, all we're doing is bringing in contracts.
Yeah.
But it never was enough. But then you find out later, well, because we were fucking driving our guys into the dirt so that another place could open up. And I'm not going to say fears, but it's seeing those types of mistakes.
Yeah.
Knowing that if they didn't have the backing to actually open that office in that other state, why the fuck did you do it?
And the only reason I said I hate offices is because they come with an overhead cost that doesn't change. And
Mhm.
it's like if that shop, office, whatever is sitting stagnant and you're not growing out of it and you don't have the guy, well, now you've got whatever that lease is that you're paying for until it runs out, and it's just like it's a black hole on financials, right?
Well, that's what makes
That's-
Michigan so
and-
nerve-wracking, because I don't know if you know, but you actually have to have a licensed building,
Yeah.
And be occupying it to get your contractor's license in Michigan. So you have to have an office.
You have to have a
if you
brick and
don't,
mortar.
yeah, you're out.
And
It's an
those-
investment.
Yeah, and those brick and mortars get annoying, and like it is what it is. But it's also like, unfortunately, we get stuck in this thing of like we have to have them because where are we gonna interview and train and hire in any market? You see what I'm saying? Like Austin right now, like we've got a PDR shop in Georgetown. It's been full multiple times. Austin's, North Austin, great market, gets hit, but I can't go and like mass recruit sales reps there because I don't really have that hub of an office where they like this, where they come in, they train, they whatever. And so it's like, you have to have it. And also like people in markets that we don't have office, like Northwest Arkansas, we had an office, currently don't. There's a few people that live there. We chase that market. And I feel like that's almost better because we go there, we work, we've got a reputation there, but we're not there every single day in the faces. We don't have trucks and location that's planted there, but like we've done really good work there, and we've done it since COVID.
And we
when
do
we-
have those things. Like we do have access to that.
Yeah.
Because it's so close. They could train here. We could still go there every day, and it doesn't even hurt to schedule. Like literally a half hour, 45 minutes. Like it does not hurt to go there every single day just to monitor it. But yeah, it's
Yeah, and like I said, I know we jumped down rabbit holes.
No, I
I know.
love it.
I'm going to take us down one last rabbit hole.
Just
well,
for
hurry,
a
because
conversation.
I got to guess what.
I know. We got to have fun for
We're
5
gonna
minutes.
be co-guests, man.
So I thought I was becoming good friends with Dustin here, and then last night him and I went out to the bar and started talking sports.
Oh shit.
I come to find out he's a huge LeBron guy.
Oh, don't. Yeah. Okay.
I said I don't know. We gotta talk through this right now. We're gonna have like this is gonna be like an AA meeting. We gotta talk through this so he understands
You gotta
that
have some
Jordan
fun.
is better
All right.
than LeBron.
Well,
Like-
that's the question. Do you believe that?
Which statement?
So I think LeBron's great. There's no doubt about it. But do you think he's better than Michael Jordan?
I believe that
Elijah's gonna blow up here in a minute, but yeah.
I just don't even.
So
I'm always
all right.
flabbergasted.
I'll
that,
ask.
I know we haven't had a LeBron fan on yet, so this is the first.
I'll ask a question with a question. And this
Especially your
is
age
usually
of a
where
LeBron
people have
fan.
to think about it a little different way.
That's a good point.
He asked a question last night that made me think a little bit, and I was like, all right. And don't you remember it?
Oh, about the flipping Tom
fuck,
Brady's record
whatever.
around.
All right, shut up. All right, so let's say that like NBA doesn't exist.
Okay.
All right, it doesn't exist. You've never seen an NBA game in your life. All right, never existed. And you got the number one pick to start a franchise, right? And you've got guys. What do you want to call it? You want to call it Jordan, LeBron, Kobe? Is that y'all's three? I mean, okay. And you're literally in a gym going through a workout, and you're watching those three, and you're like, I'm going to make the first pick of this draft. All right, what pick are you going to make?
Well,
See, I said that was an unfair comparison
It
because
is
I don't think those three are even in the conversation.
Look who went before Mike. Sam Bowie. Like, of course, on record, if that's the case, and Greg Oden would be like one of my top choices. Like, I'm just saying, like just because you fit the script in a gym empty, we know nothing about you.
See, my argument was that Wilt Chamberlain or Shaq, no matter what, if you're drafting blindly with no NBA, Shaq or Wilt Chamberlain are going number one all day, every day.
It changes the dynamic
until
of the conversation.
LeBron can probably guard one of them.
He can't.
It changes that dynamic. If we take away the accolades,
size wise and athletic ability wise,
no chance.
You probably got this 6'8" guy that's holding his own against them.
Dude, and
LeBron
still balling at 40.
Jason
No, I
Terry.
give him his credit. I'm just saying there's just too many accolades for me to ignore. Like, even outside of rings, we can move past that, although, Mike never lost in finals, but we'll move past that. Outside of just that, I always tell people the one stat that I love to bring up, and it's my favorite, is only 4 times in NBA history has someone been first-team all-defensive player, led the league in scoring, won the scoring title, and finished with a championship. Only 4 times in the NBA history. Michael, and Michael. That's it, dude. That's it. Like, and half the career, because LeBron still got 2 more years. I'm just saying half of LeBron's career still will not, playing twice as long, still will not even come close to the accolades.
Well, here was the question I posed to Destin last night that kind of made him think about this. So if you took Tom Brady today, because let's just be honest, Tom Brady's the GOAT in the NFL. He's 7-3 in the Super Bowl, right? If you flip his record around and he's 3-7, does he sniff Joe Montana at that point?
As the greatest of all time.
The greatest of all time.
3-7?
No.
Tom Brady's 3-7 instead
Probably
of 7-3.
No.
So if LeBron's 6-4, you can make a good argument against Jordan.
The argument
but being
can be made,
4-6,
but then it would sway. My thing is it would sway over to the other part. The NBA isn't what it is right now without Mike. Nike is not what it is without Mike. He changed. Do you guys remember the NBA before Michael? I'm just saying. It was sweatsuits and fucking gold chains.
Influential icon status of Michael Jordan. I'll give you that. Killer instinct. I'll give you that.
Like, he brought it to a business level too. He made players be professional.
I guess what I'm talking about is, like, if you're talking about just overall basketball player, like in all phases of, like, freak of nature, athletic ability, he's fast. He can jump over the backboard. Like, turned himself into a shooter when he wasn't a shooter. Like, he could play all 5 positions pretty much on the court. Michael Jordan's great. Michael Jordan's great. Don't get me wrong.
We've never seen somebody like LeBron. I admit that, to the abilities, the body shape, the size, what he's able to do with all of that. Like, we've never seen that before. I agree with that 100%. And if I didn't know anything about them and I walked in completely blind and we were starting up a rec league and the 2 of them were in the gym together, I probably would pick LeBron.
That's all I'm saying.
Yes, I probably would. But I do know about them. And there's no way in hell I would pick LeBron over Mike.
I get that most people with LeBron, and I'm the same way, like, the baiting for fouls and whininess and facial expressions, body language for that guy when he's like, he's great. But instead of being great and having the killer, the only reason people like Kobe and even put him in the conversation is because he had the killer mentality and drive of a Jordan. Kobe Bryant, I don't really put in the category, to be completely honest.
He's not even my top 10. He might be in my top 10.
He's just a guy that was like, I want to be better than Jordan. My numbers won over Jordan, blah, blah, blah. And he came in and he had a mid-range game, but he's a ball hog and he can't really shoot threes. There's players that are better now than Kobe as far as an overall perspective, but killer instinct, I can give it to him. Like,
so I guess just add A to the conversation, and B is Kobe Bryant's one of my favorite. Him and Reggie Miller, probably 1 and 2, just who they are. Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan. I want to put maybe Allen Iverson, but then hang on, listen to what I'm saying. Hang on.
With that list.
It's Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Steph Curry. No, this is the reason my list is not.
I got
my
Curry
list,
up there.
My list isn't the top 4. My list is when I look at that,
Austin's face says it all. That makes you want to
haven't-
throw up.
because
that
no
just
one's
makes
let
you want
me.
to throw up.
Because you guys always do this. You interrupt people before they can finish their thought.
You don't need to finish. You just had Reggie Miller's number. You don't need to finish.
Reggie Miller
He
is
said Reggie Miller
Hey,
was one
bro.
of his favorite players.
Bro.
He's offended
What
by
I'm
that.
trying to
hey.
actually say is who has
Hey.
actually came in and changed, who has revolutionized the game of basketball.
Curry's done that.
Well, there's
Jordan's done that.
There's two people that come to mind. Yeah, Steph and
So
and,
those,
and Mike.
that's why those people. The only reason I said AI a little bit is because he did bring a different type of mentality and I'll say swagger to it. It changed. People dress differently, and you can also make that argument for the Michigan Five when they all came to the league. You know,
Weber and
Fab
Rose.
Five.
That
Fab
changed college
Five.
basketball.
You remember how big?
It
You
did.
remember the shorts?
But
How-
that that all
baggy
my
shorts.
point of that is like there's things that happen that changed NBA. Michael Jordan did that. LeBron James did that. The thing with LeBron is, will that be replicated? I think players today are more like that. There's a Kevin Durant. You know, there's people that are 6'7" that can dribble a basketball.
I don't think LeBron
Um,
revolutionized basketball. I think that he brought in a more serious, like, hey, look at what happens if you invest into your body.
He's
I think
more
he
of
did that.
he's more of like a Magic Johnson. There's not many guys that are 6'8",
Well, that's,
220.
in my opinion, that's where he should have been his whole career. That would have been
I agree.
really fun to watch.
but he wasn't.
I think we'd be having a different conversation then. I honestly do. If he ran point his whole career, I think we'd be having a different talk.
Well, he
he's
did.
tried to.
Well, he did.
Yeah, but they should have put him in there,
Yeah,
like right out the gate. He would have been so fun.
I've got the age bias top three is Michael, Magic, and Bird. That's but that's my age bias because I've seen all them play. But those
that's
three,
my top three.
those
but it's
three
in a
are in the
different
Mount
order.
Rushmore with Curry as the four most influential people in NBA history because
Michael,
the
Bird,
NBA
and
was
Magic.
dead if it wasn't for Magic and Bird. They saved the NBA. Michael Jordan took it to the next level. Now Curry has changed everything again. So those four are the most influential. I'm not saying they're the best. I'm saying they're the most
I
influential.
know. What I'm saying is we're going down a rabbit hole that we're going to talk down for another hour, and I have a guest waiting, and we have to get off here. And Dustin, we really respect your time. You coming into the office has been awesome. Definitely going to have to get you back on here again.
And I'd love to talk more, man. It's been a great
we're going to
conversation.
go to Texas again eventually.
Let's send a shout out to Whistle Pig and Jeff Gross for his bottle pick for.
And if y'all want to talk about
Look,
WNBA, we can talk about Brittany Griner being a man.
Stop.
Oh man, don't get Angelo going on stuff like that.
Yeah,
Angelo's all for
he's
men
the
and
wrong
women's
one.
sports.
Yeah, he is the wrong
That
one.
is not true.
He is.
It's a stupid argument.
Angelo would literally be okay if LeBron went there right now and won 7 rings in a row.
All right, so
and he would call him a champion.
So this
too.
doesn't get misconstrued. I just think it's weird to have a talking point when there's 11 people, and I think like 38 states actually have it where you can't.
And when the
even compete.
politics begin,
It's all-
Roof
it's-
Trollz
it's
is,
just
baby.
stupid.
It was great time having you guys. We love you guys. Dustin, thank you. Mike, fuck off. See you later, Angelo. And as always, guys, see you on the next one.
Later.
Right.